9 unpleasant things seniors do in old age. That no one tells you about aging is a journey, one filled with wisdom, experience, and profound moments of reflection. Yet there are aspects of growing older that no one talks about. These are the little things that sneak up on you, the habits, behaviors, and struggles that make you feel isolated, frustrated, or even powerless. But here's the truth. Aging does not have to be about decline. It can be about transformation. You are not alone in this, and with the right mindset and approach, you can navigate these challenges with grace and dignity. Let's explore 9 uncomfortable things seniors tend to do in old age, the real reasons behind them, and most importantly, how to overcome them in a way that empowers you to live fully. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Withdrawing from social life. Without realizing it, aging has a way of shifting the landscape of our social lives. The friendships that once filled our days may fade, either due to distance, health issues, or the passage of time. It happens so subtly that we barely notice at first. One missed event turns into 2. A postponed lunch date never gets rescheduled. A morning routine, once punctuated by friendly hellos, becomes quieter. And then, one day, the silence lingers a little too long, and we realize we've slowly withdrawn from the world. But why does this happen? It's not just about losing friends or struggling with mobility. Sometimes it's the emotional weight of aging that pushes us into solitude. We may fear becoming a burden, worried that our presence isn't as welcome as it once was. Perhaps the people we once confided in have passed on, leaving a void too painful to fill. Other times, the modern world moves so quickly, making us feel like outsiders in a space we once navigated with ease. Yet isolation is not a natural part of aging. It's a consequence of habits we unknowingly form. The truth is, connection is not something that happens to us. It is something we create. It doesn't require a packed social calendar or extravagant outings. A meaningful life is built on small, intentional moments. Calling an old friend just to hear their voice. Attending a community event, even if it feels a little unfamiliar at first. Striking up a conversation with a stranger in the grocery store, just to remind yourself that kindness is universal. Saying yes to invitations, even when you feel hesitant. The hardest part is taking the first step. But once you do, you'll find that the warmth of human connection was never truly lost. It was simply waiting for you to return. If loneliness has crept into your life, pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time I truly connected with someone? If it's been a while, today is a good day to reach out, because the world is still waiting for you. 2. Becoming too rigid in your ways. There's a certain comfort in routine. It gives structure to our days, a sense of control in an unpredictable world. But what happens when those routines become walls, keeping us from new experiences, new relationships, and even new joys? Aging can make us feel like we've earned the right to do things our way, and of course we have. But clinging too tightly to the past can make the present slip away unnoticed. The world changes, people evolve, and the things that once worked for us may no longer serve us in the same way. Yet, it's easy to resist change because change requires effort, vulnerability, and sometimes a little humility. Perhaps you found yourself saying, "That's not how we did things back in my day," or, "I don't need to try anything new at this stage of life. There's no point in changing now." But what if change wasn't about losing who you are, but expanding who you can become? What if being open to something new didn't mean abandoning the past, but rather enhancing your present? There's a quiet kind of bravery in allowing yourself to grow at any age. It could be as simple as trying a new type of food, listening to a different style of music, or learning to use a new piece of technology. It could mean shifting your perspective, choosing to see younger generations not as different, but as simply walking their own path, just as you did in your time. The more we resist change, the more we shrink into a smaller version of ourselves. But curiosity keeps the mind young. Saying yes to something new, no matter how small, is a declaration that you are still engaged in life. So the next time you catch yourself dismissing something just because it's unfamiliar, pause. Ask yourself, what if this is something I might actually enjoy? You may just surprise yourself, because aging doesn't have to mean closing doors. It can mean opening them wider than ever before. 3. Ignoring new technology and missing out. There was a time when the world felt familiar, the tools we used, the way we communicated, the rhythm of daily life. It all made sense. But now technology seems to change faster than we can keep up. Smartphones, apps, video calls, smart assistants. Things we once saw as luxuries have become everyday necessities. And yet many seniors resist stepping into this new world, feeling as though it wasn't made for them. It's easy to dismiss technology with a simple, "I don't need it," or "I've lived my whole life without it." But beneath those words often lies something deeper: frustration, intimidation, or even fear. Learning something new can feel overwhelming, especially when it seems like everyone else already understands it. The thought of pressing the wrong button, making a mistake, or appearing out of touch can be discouraging. But here's the truth. Technology is not here to replace the past. It's here to enhance the present. It is not meant to isolate you, but to bring you closer to the people and the world you love. Ignoring it doesn't just mean missing out on conveniences. It means missing out on moments. Moments like seeing your grandchild smile during a video call, reconnecting with an old friend through social media, or effortlessly ordering groceries when leaving the house feels difficult. The key is to start small. Choose one piece of technology that could genuinely make your life easier and take the time to understand it. Ask a loved one for help. Take a free class at a community center or library, and give yourself permission to learn at your own pace. And most importantly, don't let embarrassment stop you. No one is born knowing how to use these tools. Everyone learns one step at a time. You've adapted to changes your entire life. Why stop now? Embracing technology is not about keeping up with the younger generation. It's about staying connected to the life you love. It's about reminding yourself that growth doesn't stop just because we age. It's about proving that curiosity, resilience, and the ability to learn are not limited by time. So, the next time you hesitate to try something new, ask yourself, is it really too late? Or am I just afraid of feeling uncomfortable? Because on the other side of that discomfort lies something incredible: opportunity, connection, and a world that still has so much to offer you. 4. Neglecting self-care. Because it's not a priority. There was a time when you took great care of yourself. You dressed with purpose, carried yourself with confidence, and made time for the little things that made you feel good. But somewhere along the way, as the years passed, self-care began to feel like an afterthought. Maybe it started with skipping a routine here or there, putting off a haircut, wearing the same comfortable clothes every day, or not bothering with small indulgences like a favorite fragrance or a well-prepared meal. It happens slowly, almost without notice, until one day you look in the mirror and wonder, when did I stop treating myself with the same kindness and attention I once did? The truth is, self-care is not about vanity. It's about dignity. It's about honoring yourself, your body, and your worth. Too often seniors neglect self-care because they believe it doesn't matter anymore. They think, what's the point? Who's going to notice? But the most important person who will notice is you. When you stop caring for yourself, it's not just about appearance. It affects your confidence, your mood, and even your health. Taking care of yourself is a way of reminding the world and yourself that you are still here, that you still matter, and that your well-being is just as important today as it was in your youth. Self-care doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. It can be as simple as taking the time to get dressed in something that makes you feel good, keeping up with grooming habits, staying active, or engaging in activities that bring you joy. It's about nourishing yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. It's about choosing to live fully rather than merely exist. So, if you've fallen into the habit of neglecting yourself, pause and ask, if I don't take care of myself, who will? You are still worthy of love, care, and attention, especially from yourself. And the moment you start treating yourself with kindness again, you'll realize something powerful. Self-care is not just about looking good. It's about feeling alive. 5. Saying no to help, even when you need it. There is a quiet kind of strength in doing things on your own. For decades, you have been the one people relied on, the one who took care of others, made decisions, and carried responsibilities on your shoulders. Independence is not just something you value, it is something you are. But as the years pass, tasks that once seemed effortless begin to feel heavier. Carrying groceries up the stairs, driving at night, reaching for something on a high shelf. These simple acts now take more energy, more caution. And yet, when someone offers help, the instinct is often to refuse. I can do it myself. I don't want to be a burden. I'm fine. But are you? Saying no to help isn't always about the task at hand. Sometimes it's about the deeper fear of losing control, of feeling dependent, of admitting that time is changing you. Accepting help can feel like acknowledging a vulnerability you don't want to face. But here's the truth. Accepting help does not make you weak. It makes you wise. It means recognizing that life is not meant to be carried alone. It means allowing the people who love you to give back, to show their care in ways they've always wanted to. Think about how many times in your life you have helped others. Did you ever think of them as a burden? Of course not. You helped because you loved them, because you wanted to, because being there for someone is a gift. Why then would you deny that gift to others? Accepting help does not mean surrendering your independence. It simply means adapting, finding new ways to move through life with support instead of struggle. It means learning that strength is not in doing everything alone, but in knowing when to lean on others. So, the next time someone offers to assist you, don't say no out of pride or habit. Instead, try something different. Say yes. Let someone carry that bag for you, open that jar, drive you to an appointment, or walk alongside you. Not because you can't do it, but because you don't have to do it alone. There is a quiet kind of strength in knowing when to say yes. 6. Letting fear hold you back from new experiences. Fear is a tricky thing. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you are too old, too slow, too set in your ways to try something new. It convinces you that stepping outside of your comfort zone is dangerous, that it's better to stick to what is familiar, predictable, safe. And so, without even realizing it, you stop reaching for new experiences. You hesitate when invited somewhere new. You avoid learning things that feel unfamiliar. You tell yourself, that's not for me. But deep down, is that really true? At every stage of life, fear tries to keep us small. When we were young, it told us not to take risks, not to chase dreams, not to step too far from home. But we did it anyway. We pursued careers, raised families, built lives from moments of courage. Why should that courage end now? The truth is, life is still meant to be lived. The joy of discovering something new does not expire with age. Whether it's trying a new type of food, traveling to a place you've never been, picking up a hobby you once loved, or simply saying yes to an invitation, every small act of openness keeps your spirit alive. Think about this. How many experiences have you already missed because fear told you they weren't for you? How many memories could have been made if you had simply said yes? Fear shrinks life, but curiosity expands it. You don't have to do something extreme. You don't have to skydive or learn a new language overnight, but you can take small steps toward openness. Ask yourself, what is one new thing I can do today that I would normally avoid? And then, do it. Because on the other side of that, fear is something beautiful. A life that is still rich with possibility. And you deserve to experience every bit of it. 7. Holding on to past grudges. Instead of letting go. The past has a way of clinging to us, like old letters stored in a forgotten drawer, some filled with warmth, others with words we wish had never been spoken. Over the years we collect hurts, disappointments, and betrayals, replaying them in our minds like an old film. The sharp words of a family member. The friend who drifted away. The mistake we can't forgive ourselves for. All these things settle deep within us, shaping the way we see the world. At first, holding on to these grudges feels like self-protection. We convince ourselves that remembering the pain keeps us from being hurt again. But in truth, grudges do not guard us. They bind us. They weigh down our hearts, steal our joy, and create distance between us and the people who might still love us, if only we let them. But here is something no one tells you about growing older. Time is too precious to waste on resentment. The days ahead are fewer than the ones behind, and spending them carrying old wounds only makes the journey heavier. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened. It is not about pretending the pain did not exist. It is about freeing yourself, letting go so that you can move forward without the burden of anger. Start small. Think of someone whose name, when spoken, still stirs something unresolved in you. Ask yourself, is holding on to this pain making my life better? If the answer is no, take the first step toward releasing it. Maybe it's a letter you'll never send. Maybe it's a whispered prayer. Maybe it's simply deciding, today, I will no longer carry this with me. Because in the end, peace is not something given to us. It is something we choose. And you deserve peace more than you deserve to hold on to an old hurt. 8. Becoming too critical of younger generations. There is a moment in life when you begin to feel like the world is moving too fast, shifting into something unfamiliar. You see younger people making choices you don't understand. How they dress, how they speak, how they work, even how they raise their children. And without meaning to, frustration creeps in. They don't do things the way we did. They have it so easy. They don't respect traditions anymore. These thoughts start small, just passing observations, but over time they harden into something else. Judgment. And judgment, when left unchecked, creates distance. Between generations, between family members, between you and the world that is still evolving around you. But here's a truth we often forget. Every generation has been misunderstood by the one before it. Think back to when you were young. Weren't there moments when your parents or elders shook their heads at your choices? When they told you that your music was too loud, your ideas too radical, your way of doing things too reckless? And yet, you moved forward. You built a life on your own terms. You took the wisdom of those before you, but you also carved your own path. Why then do we expect the younger generation to do any differently? The world they are growing up in is not the world we knew. Their struggles are different. Their challenges are shaped by new technologies, new expectations, new pressures that we never had to navigate. Just as we had to adapt in our time, they are adapting in theirs. But criticism does not build bridges. It builds walls. If we only see what they are doing wrong, we miss the opportunity to see what they are doing right. Younger generations are innovative, resilient, and passionate. They care about issues deeply. They challenge outdated ideas. They dream big, They may not always do things the way we did, but that does not mean they are doing them wrong. It just means they are doing them their way, just as we did in our youth. So how do we shift from judgment to understanding? We listen instead of dismissing. We ask instead of assuming. We try to understand. Instead of saying, "Back in my day," try asking, "Tell me what life is like for you." We do not have to agree with everything they do. We do not have to understand every trend or embrace every change. But if we want to stay connected to our children, our grandchildren, to the world itself, we must stay open. Because here's the truth: younger generations do not need our criticism. They need our wisdom. They need our stories, our guidance, our presence. And the only way to offer those things is to be part of the conversation, not stand outside of it. So the next time you find yourself shaking your head at the way things are now, pause. Ask yourself, am I pushing them away with my judgment or pulling them closer with my understanding? Because, in the end, what truly matters is not how different we are, but how much we still need each other. Forgetting to celebrate life's small joys. There is a silent danger that comes with aging, not illness, not loneliness, not even the loss of physical ability, but something far more subtle: forgetting how to feel joy. For so many years, joy was tied to big moments: the promotions, the weddings, the first steps of a child, the vacations, the milestones. These were the events that marked the passing of time, the proof that life was moving forward. But as the years settle, those grand moments become fewer, and life becomes quieter. And in that quiet, many seniors unknowingly stop celebrating altogether. The mind shifts from possibility to nostalgia. Instead of looking forward, we look back. Instead of excitement for what's ahead, we focus on what's gone. The first thought in the morning is about what hurts, what's missing, what has changed. Days become routines, filled with habits but lacking delight. But here's a truth that must not be forgotten. Joy is not something that happens to us. It is something we create. Somewhere along the way, many seniors stop looking for joy in small places. They forget that happiness was never just about the big moments. It was always in the details. It was in the way the morning sun filters through the curtains, in the warmth of a well-worn sweater, in the first sip of coffee, in the sound of birds outside the window. It was in the feeling of turning the pages of a good book, in the laughter of a grandchild, in the familiarity of an old song. But when we stop noticing, these things begin to fade, not because they disappear, but because we do. Do we become too caught up in loss, in comparison, in longing for what once was, that we miss what still is? So how do we bring joy back? It starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on what has been lost, we must train ourselves to see what remains. Gratitude is not a passive feeling. It is an active practice. It requires looking for reasons to be thankful, even in the simplest of things. Wake up and ask yourself, what is beautiful about today? Maybe it's the crispness of the air. Maybe it's the kindness of a stranger. Maybe it's the simple pleasure of putting on a favorite sweater or hearing a familiar voice on the phone. Joy is not hidden. It is everywhere, waiting for you to notice. And once you begin noticing, the next step is participation. Many seniors sit back and watch life rather than engaging with it. But joy thrives in engagement. Cook a meal, not because you have to, but because creating something with your hands is an act of care. Play music that moves you. Call an old friend just to hear their laughter. Watch a sunset and let yourself feel awe. Treat yourself to fresh flowers, a small indulgence, a moment of true presence. The reason so many people feel like joy disappears with age is because they stop choosing it. But life is still happening. It is still unfolding around you, and you are still in it. So celebrate the small things, not because you have to, but because you deserve to. Because the beauty of life never stopped. It's just waiting for you to open your eyes and see it again. Aging is not about losing, it's about becoming. Aging brings change. Some of it is difficult, some of it unexpected. There are moments of frustration, moments of grief, moments when you wonder who you are in this new stage of life. But growing older is not just about what is taken away, it is also about what is given: wisdom, perspective, the freedom to redefine what truly matters. Yes, there are unpleasant habits that can creep in: the withdrawal from social life, the rigidity of routine, the reluctance to embrace new technology or accept help, the weight of past grudges, the sharpness of judgment, the fear of change. But none of these things define you. They are simply obstacles, things you have the power to recognize and change. Because here's the truth no one tells you: you are still becoming. You are not finished. You are not done growing, learning, or experiencing the world in new ways. You are still someone who can laugh, love, explore, and connect. The story is not over. The best chapters may still be ahead. So choose curiosity over fear, connection over isolation, gratitude over regret. Let go of what no longer serves you. Open yourself to what still can. And most of all, remember that aging is not about fading. It is about living fully and completely for as long as you are here, because you are still here. And that, above all else, is something powerful. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.